Okay, here's our ceiling fan box up in the ceiling. I've got wire nuts on the individual wires, so I'm going to take those off. Before I do that, I'm going to make sure that my switch that I installed in the wall is off, and I'm going to take these wire nuts off, and I'm going to test the wires with a little wire tester just to make sure that we got all the power off. Do not hook this up hot. Okay, I've taken the wire nuts off, and I tested this with my little wire tester from before. I just pushed it on the white wire and the black wire. Nothing happens. I tried the fan and I turned it on. Now I'm turning it off. So what you want to make sure is you want to make sure that your power is off. You want to double check it, even triple check it if you feel like it. Main thing is this wire needs to be off. Okay, so now I'm ready to go. I'm just going to take this wire and I'm going to unroll it. And I'm going to take off this outside sheathing. I'm going to use a sheetrock knife. Make sure you got a sharp blade. I'm just going to score the outside of this plastic, or this rubber sheathing, just gently, hardly anything at all. I'm just scoring it, maybe cutting a little bit more than that. And then I can pull this out like that. I can take the outside paper off up to there. I can hold that, pull on a little bit, just take your knife, just kind of saw it off, okay, like that. And then we're going to do this paper that's wrapped around the ground. Okay, so that's what you want for that right now. Okay, this mounting box is going to fit up in here. There's notches on here, so there's quite a few different notches. So I'm going to line it up with the screws up there. Before I do that, I'm going to take my little mounting screws. These were left in when it was painted, so I'm going to clean off these screws a little bit, and I'm going to dry fit this up, make sure everything's ready to go. I'm going to slip this up in here, and I'm just going to look and see which notches I want to utilize. Now this is a flat ceiling, so it really doesn't matter where this notch fits. It just matters where I feel comfortable off of my ladder, how I'm going to lift the fan up and fit it down into this notch. Now if you were on a cathedral ceiling, this would be at an angle, so there's a little notch in here where the knuckle fits in. You would want that angled downward. But here it's not going to matter, okay? So however you feel comfortable fitting that up. I'm going to make this notch fit towards me so that you guys can see what I'm doing, and I'm going to screw this up in here now. Okay, I'm going to screw this up here, but before I do that, you remember on this housing here has a green wire attached to it. So this ground wire needs to be connected to this ground wire. Well, I've got a metal box up here, so just for convenience sake, before I screw this up in here, I'm going to wrap this around one of my mounting screws, and I'm going to leave the pigtail, and I'm going to hook this up later. That way this ground is kind of connected to the metal box too, just for safety purposes. Okay, I've attached my ground wire up to a mounting screw. Now I've got them down like that. Now I'm ready to slide the mounting housing up there for the fan. Okay, I've got the screws up in here. Now there's a little bit of play in this mounting bracket, and I've previously centered the mounting box before we did the sheetrock exactly where I want it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to center this. Even though there's only a slight play, I'm still going to center it. On your project, if you have to slide it over to cover something up, you know, a mark on the wall or something, you can do that. But you've got just a little bit of a flex here, but I'm centering mine. Okay, after I center it, I'm just going to hold it up there and tighten up my screws. Now, as I told you, on mine, the knuckle around this is on the far side. You can't really see it, but where these wires are, I'm going to reroute these wires through this, because once I lift the ceiling fan up in here, I've got to reach around and fit the knuckle, lift the knuckle up on this side over here and slip it into this slot. So I got to get these wires out of the way. Okay, I've rerouted the wires over on this side, so now I'm clean and free over on this side here. So I'm ready to bring the ceiling fan over here. Now, make sure you read your directions and everything. This particular ceiling fan has a light switch that's a manual light switch. Some have an automatic free holding unit that you can turn on and off. Obviously, if you have something like that, then you'll wire it a different way. I'm basically doing it the way the directions say for this. If your ceiling fan is slightly different, follow the directions.